welcome to the No Spin News. Monday, October 20th, 2025. Stand up for your country. No kings. I don't think we have a king. If we did, the king would have beheaded a lot of people over the weekend, right? It was a quick weekend for me. I was upstate New York trying to get a little foliage thing going on. And foliage is so-so this year. But I was tracking the No Kings protest. There was one up in Kingston, New York, right close to the Hudson River. And it was, a decent crowd. It's a small town. They were out there. And I didn't engage, but I was very curious to what kind of people were there and what the tone of it was. I got to tell you, I was impressed with the rallies across the country, and that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points Memo. Not impressed politically because I'm not on the side of the people who hate Trump and think he's the devil and he's Hitler and the country's going down a drain. I don't see it that way at all. I think Trump is divisive. He's not a uniter. He has a vision. He's carrying out the vision. He's succeeded in neutralizing Iranian nukes, big. Succeeded in getting 20 hostages, big. I think he's going to get a deal in Ukraine. Just my opinion right now, but I think it's trending in that direction. Oil prices here are coming down. You may know that. They're coming down pretty hard. And food prices, I don't know what's going to happen. So I don't see him as a disaster at all, as far as being a technician in the White House. The people I saw were very emotional about hating Trump. And that's fine. They have a perfect right to hate him. Just don't act out. And they didn't. And that's what impressed me. So here are the numbers. We can't get an accurate assessment of how many people protested on Saturday. The organizers say 7 million. It seems a little high to me. Chicago was a big one, 250,000. DC, 200,000. New York was kind of a bomb, 100,000. That's not a big protest for New York. Very liberal town. LA, they can't count them because there's not enough police to do it. LA is such a disaster. But arrests, very, very few. 12 in LA, 13 in Denver. Portland had some people trying to destroy the ICE headquarters, so that was serious, but there weren't a lot of them. Chicago had 15 arrests. So, when you have millions of people out there and you don't have any violence, looting, and arrests, that should be applauded. Because again, dissent is a vital part of a democracy. You've got to be able to dissent, even if you don't agree with the dissent. And I don't agree with the progressive left at all. I think they have done more harm to this country in, 20 years than the Democratic Party did in 100 years. It's a progressive far left that really is damaging this country, in my humble opinion. However, if they want to go out and demonstrate, all right. And it's not hard to get people out. 75 million people voted for Kamala Harris. That's a big pool, to choose from. It's not hard to mobilize people. And then there were the organizers. The ACLU, a group called Indivisible, that's a Soros-funded group. 5501 movement, Move On, American Atheists, Tax Fairness, Blue Future, LBQ stuff, Black Struggle Organization, Planned Parenthood, Pride at Work. All of these are far left groups, every one of them. And Soros pumped an enormous amount of money into those groups, probably more than $1 billion. So this isn't anything that's unusual. You got huge money behind them. You got 75 million who didn't like Trump. That's a big crew to choose from. So they got him out there. Anyway, the criticism of the president, I watched that, I had my staff watch it too, was general. Roll the tape.
But primarily my biggest focus today is ICE. What they're doing is unconstitutional, it's not fair. it's terrorism.
Okay, so it's like, the country's a fascist country now, and it's going down a drain, and on and on and on and on. Let's face it, the U.S. economy is under stress. National debt rising, trade war shaking the markets, and meanwhile, China is dumping the dollar and stockpiling gold. That's why I protected my savings with physical gold and silver through the only dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. And you can do this. Get precious metals delivered to your door or place in a tax-advantaged gold IRA. They'll even help you roll over your existing IRA or 401k, tax and penalty free. With billions in precious metals delivered, thousands of five-star reviews, and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, you can trust American Hartford Gold as I do. Please call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Now, one column did catch my attention. It was written by Colby Hall, who we like here, for Mediaite, which is a social media website, which analyzes what's going on in the press. So all the people in the press read it. Here's what Colby wrote about the march. He goes, "The marches are virtuous, showed moral clarity when cynicism was easier. But virtue without strategy is performance, and performance without follow-through is paralysis. The crowd made noise. Now it has to make demands and back them with something more than Saturday's turnout," unquote. And Colby Hall joins us now from Brooklyn. So the marches are virtuous. How do you know?
Well, I didn't go, but judging by the people that I know, but what I meant by virtuous is that they were principled, right? They,
All of
to
them?
your point, well, I don't know if all of them, but I think generally you can sort of, I'm sure, like the individuals that were arrested, I believe in the authorities that arrested them for good reason. You can take 1,000 people and there's always going to be 2 or 3 nutters. Those nutters don't define the
Yeah,
group.
but I'm not talking about that. You say the marchers are virtuous. There are a lot of Antifas out there. There are a lot of anarchists. They didn't misbehave, again, to their credit, on a mass level. There are a lot of people who want communism and socialism, the Bernie's bros. All of those people are virtuous? Come on.
Well, I'm just going to echo what you said earlier. I think what they did was patriotic, right? I mean, in as much, and look, I don't agree with everything that the sort of organizers put forth, but the right to protest is constitutionally protected. And to your point, like for the most part, it was peaceful and principled.
All right.
I don't know that there was a lot of Antifa.
I'm giving you a hard time because I think you were too general in this column. So the marches are virtuous. They showed moral clarity. So I don't think that letting 15 million foreign nationals into this country, as Joe Biden did, is moral. I think it's immoral. All right. I think it destroyed.
I would agree with you, but right. But
I
don't think.
Wait a second. And I don't think that watching 4,000, mostly African Americans, be gunned down in the streets of Chicago is moral at all. Now, these demonstrators, Colby, I would say 90% of them, all right, don't want immigration enforcement, and they don't want National Guard to go in and stop mini Holocaust in Chicago. They don't want it. How is that moral clarity?
I don't think there's a mini Holocaust going on in Chicago right now. I think there is crime, absolutely, and it's been a problem, although it's been getting better. It's at a 60-year low. I do think that I agree with you on the Biden administration failed immeasurably in the way that they handled the border so poorly. And I think he paid the penance of that Kamala Harris did, by not getting elected. I think that was a huge, huge issue. I don't think this protest was about the Biden administration. And I don't even know, you had the sound clip of the protester protesting ICE. That's a complicated issue. I think that the draconian way that many ICE people, remove people in masks without due process is critical. But I think the authoritarian things that the Trump administration are doing, are sort of eroding our Constitution. The posse comitatus does not allow federal
But the
troops to
Supreme
do
Court is
that.
going to hear that. They're going to hear that. And we should let that play out. But these people have already condemned Trump as being immoral, as being a fascist. They've already done it. And then you say they show moral clarity by doing it. I disagree vehemently with that. Let me
Well,
just
I think patriotically. All right. Well,
All right,
that's your point. I'll take
and
that.
that's okay. I mean, this is why we have this program and why we have robust debate. I don't think that's moral clarity. I think you have to basically take it issue by issue. Now, when I had Tom Homan on, and you saw it last Wednesday, I scolded him gently because he was a stand-up guy for coming on by not giving enough information about the ICE agents and what they do and what they're ordered to do. Because the Homeland Security Department doesn't seem that they think they have an obligation to tell the American people what the deuce is going on. They do. They do. Now there, I'm 100% with the demonstrators who say, well, we can't have, a system whereby people are snatched up. I don't know what the guidelines are. They haven't been put out there. I do know that the judge's deportation orders, there are these left-wingers don't want those enforced. The progressive movement does not want to send anybody back. They'll say maybe hardened criminals, but they don't want DUI people sent back. They don't want wife abusers sent back. They don't want them. And that's not moral clarity to me. So I think that the moral high ground is held by the people who want to enforce the law, but they have to do a better job of explaining why they're doing what they're doing. Is that reasonable?
I think that's entirely reasonable. And I would go further, and I'd say most Americans who look at this, sort of logically and reasonable, would say that if you are a hardened criminal or if you've done any serious crime and you're here illegally, you should be deported, right? Of course, everyone is afforded due process, if only to find out you got the right guy, right? Presuming you got the right guy and you know that they did some sort of crime on any scale, you lose the right to be here regardless, right? I think most people
they need to clarify what the 1952 law is and how it's being enforced. And it's a scandal that we haven't had it. We have a woman in Houston, I want to run the soundbite, get your reaction to it, who had a bunch of friends and they were out protesting against Trump. Roll that tape.
When you see something's wrong, you've got to stand up and do something. You can't just put your head in the sand and hope it goes away. And whether it affects you or your neighbor doesn't matter. You have to stand up for everyone. We're one nation under God. With liberty and justice for all.
Well, that's just virtue signaling. You know what that is. It's like, well, what's wrong, lady? What are you objecting to? What exactly is the problem here? And
that was the essence of my column, really, was that the protest was better at putting up social media posts than it was for actually doing any change. Meaning, what we have found here, what I sort of found is that you go on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter and you see all these people putting up photos saying like, look what I did, I protested.
Right.
And it kind of goes away. So I do believe that there's a real concern that there's no organization. These people feel good about themselves because they protested and put up a witty sign and then they go back to normal lives.
But
and
you would if you were King Colby. I don't think there's been a king.
One day.
There's been a King Canute, but I don't think ever a King Colby. If you were king, you would want to reverse some of the Trump policies, right?
No, I would want a more reasonable sort of approach where there were checks and balances. I think what I would, if I were king, I wouldn't be a king because I'd be for American democracy and the Constitution, and I would ask Congress.
All right, but what has Trump done that you would like to see banished?
Well, I would like to see due process. One, I would like to see. I think the government shutdown was a strategic way to cut a lot of staff. I mean, under the shutdown, the executive branch, the OMD gets a ton of power, so they've been able to fire and lay off a bunch of government workers.
So you think that it was a contrived shutdown to fire people?
I do. I think I
Really?
think it was a clever strategic move by, I mean, it was sort of laid out in the Project 2025 and the cutting of USAID, the Doge cuts, all of that stuff sort of fell outside of the realm of what we've
I guess it's
constitutional
possible,
standards.
but look, say you're Senator John Thune. So you're not a king. I just downgraded you to a senator. So Senator Schumer walks in, he looks at you and he says, we're going to shut down a government. We're going to, all of us in Congress, all Democrats, unless Republicans agree to provide taxpayer health care for 7 million undocumented people. That's what Schumer did.
I
And
think
he
that's
knew, but
you're
Schumer
summarizing.
knew that the Republican Party could never do that,
I
ever
think
in a million years.
You're oversimplifying a very complicated healthcare system. Will undocumented people, they have to be treated at ERs? A, B, the more you cover people with this healthcare system, and Obamacare is not great, I will agree with that, but it's better than what came before and should be improved. And neither party has put forth anything to try to improve that. But when you cut that funding, guess who's going to pay more? It's all the other Americans that rely on the Affordable Health Care Act,
All
right?
right.
And
Well, but
those prices are going to go way up. And that's a real
wait a minute.
problem that the country has to face.
Thune and Johnson, the two leaders in Congress, both said to Schumer, we will negotiate this with you. What exactly you just said. But the facts of the matter are, okay, that the Congressional Budget Office estimates if the Republican Party and Trump said, yeah, okay, we'll let you have an extension of Obamacare that will pay for the health care of 7 million undocumented people. That would cost the United States of America, this is CBO number, $662 billion over 10 years. The Republican Party is never going to do that in a million years. So the Democrats knew when they came in that this was going to shut it down, Colby, and they did it to make a stand against Trump. And that's the truth.
I think you're right to say that this was a protest against Trump because the Democrats are in disarray. It's cliche. They have no power. This is the only thing they can do.
That's the line, right? And that's
right.
what happened.
But I will say also, Trump and his allies have been talking about repeal and replace Obamacare for 10 years? And they got nothing. And so if Obamacare or the American Health Care Act and our American healthcare system is so broken and for profit and people are making billions of dollars off of this, where is the government responsibility to try to fix it?
And listen, I agree with that 100%, that there's got to be a big there's got to be a big summit meeting between both parties to come up with a healthcare system that's, number one, fair, okay? Because we do need to have safety nets for older people and people who are who have to have them, but not giveaways. Look, I reported last week, and how many times have you heard, Colby? How many times have you heard, from a Democrat, the federal government doesn't pick up any of the undocumented health bills? How many times have you heard that?
Too many times.
Right. And so we come up with, last week, the state of Oregon, in its budget, has $1.5 billion,
right,
all right, allotted for health care for undocumented people, because they take Medicaid, where the feds match it dollar for dollar, and hit it right into the undocumented community. So the Democrats aren't telling the truth there. They're gaming the system. But you're right.
I learned that from you on the News Nation town hall. That's where I learned that from you.
Right.
Good stuff. Right.
So let's have Schumer open the government, because the Democrats are the ones that are closed it. And then Thune and Johnson, you set up a summit meeting and you lay out legislation. I think that's the way to go. Last word.
I think the Trump administration could be real heroes right now if they put forth a plan. In the way that they settled peace, did the impossible by causing a ceasefire and discussing peace in the Middle East, if they could put forth a real healthcare plan that was better and more affordable to everyone, that's when he would get the Nobel Peace Prize. And so I would encourage the Trump
but he's
administration
not going to
make that
do
a
it. He's not. The Republican Party and President Trump are not going to pay the health bills of undocumented people. They're not.
Fine. I mean, so let's have the conversation, but put something forth. Don't say we're not going to do anything. We're going to do nothing. Let's start the dialogue. That's what I think.
All right, Colby, we appreciate you taking the time. Thanks. Good debate.
Well, always good to be here.
If you guys want to comment on the debate, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. When you're buried in credit card and loan debt, it's easy to put it off and say, I'll deal with it later. But here's the thing. Done with Debt has a little known strategy that can dramatically reduce or even erase what you owe. This fall, they will aggressively engage your lenders because they know rich credit card and loan companies are doing year-end accounting and cutting deals to clear debt fast, meaning you need to start with Done with Debt right now, this fall. They can help end your debt fast without bankruptcy or loans. In fact, most clients have more money in their pocket the first month. So get started while you still have time. Go to donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their specialists for free. Visit donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. If you are 64 years old or older, you gotta hear this. Millions of seniors are on the wrong Medicare plan, and they don't even know it. Don't know it. In fact, the Department of Justice recently sued 3 major Medicare brokers for allegedly claiming to be unbiased while secretly steering seniors toward plans with the biggest kickbacks. Whoa. That's why I am partnering up with Chapter. Chapter doesn't work for the government or big insurance. Works for you. They are the only advisors that compare every Medicare plan nationwide to find what's best for you and your family. They'll even help if you're hit with wrongful medical bills, and that is real advocacy. They have saved the average senior in America $1,100 this year alone. $1,100. Best part, their service is free. You can review your options in under 20 minutes with Chapter. You are in control. So please give them a call. 321-319-1576. Or click the link in the description below. Okay, it is final thought. October 20th, 2 months before Christmas and all of that. You can save a lot of money by buying your gifts now. So there are sales everywhere because they want to get rid of the autumn stuff and all of that. They want to move out a whole bunch of stuff. And you can give, if you're a premium or concierge member on our store, we're giving you stuff. We will sell out of a lot of that. So stack it up. Make a list. All right, here's what I want to give Shelly. Here's what I want to give Seymour, whoever it may be. You get a little thing, bump, 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 bump. Then you look for the discounts now, because once the closer it gets, they're not going to mark stuff down. Just the cheap garbage they can't move. The premium stuff doesn't get marked, but now you can find it. So, final thought, I want you to, be financially solvent. You could save 40% on gift giving if you start early. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.